I'm one of those people who likes to read just about any plaque on a building or on the side of a road because stories are everywhere, and I appreciate the fact that people have made the effort to tell the story, to honor somebody, to pass on some information. Well, Ruth Ezell tonight visits a place that has played an important role in a lot of people's lives in this city. And now you can read all about it.
I want to welcome all of you to the unveiling of the Persistence of Spirit exhibit.
It was a time to celebrate at the Phyllis Wheatley Heritage Center of the YWCA of Metropolitan St. Louis.
I'm exceptionally proud to stand before you this evening to unveil a history that really began with a group of fearless women who in 1911 not only had a persistence of spirit, but they started with a vision, and they also had hope for African American women.
This permanent photographic exhibit traces the evolution of a YWCA branch founded in St. Louis for African American women and girls in the early 20th century. At the time, the black population of the city was roughly 6% and growing. African Americans looking for factory jobs were migrating from states in the Deep South. There were also professional and upper-class black families whose roots were established in St. Louis prior to the Civil War. But regardless of their position on the economic scale, they all lived in a racially segregated society and did not have access to mainstream organizations. So with the well-being of girls in mind, a group called the St. Louis Federation of Colored Women's Clubs petitioned the National YWCA for their own branch in 1911. It was originally named after a white benefactor, but in 1912 was renamed for Phyllis Wheatley, the poet and former slave who was America's first published African American. The Phyllis Wheatley branch joined a handful of predominantly black Y branches operating in America.
I became first associated with Phyllis Wheatley Y while I was in high school in Sumner.
Longtime member Buella Gray Brooks was born in Kentucky just 2 years after the birth of the Phyllis Wheatley Y branch. The daughter of a school teacher and a clerk for a coal mining company, Brooks and her parents moved north during the Great Depression and settled in St. Louis. The Phyllis Wheatley branch, near the heart of the Mill Creek Valley neighborhood it served, had not yet moved into its current home on the 2700 block of Locust. That didn't happen until 1941. But it's always offered low-cost, transient, and permanent housing, both for visitors not welcomed in area hotels because of their color, and for women who were newcomers to the city and needed help finding employment and a place to live.
When strangers would come to town, it was the safest place for ladies to stay. They were sheltered, protected, and had to themselves observe regulations, so they were safe in and they were safe from out.
Like all YWCA branches, Phyllis Wheatley promoted physical fitness and sportsmanship through competitive activities. In this instance, tennis. Many social activities were organized and social graces taught through the branch. This photo from 1927 was taken at a spring party for the Girl Reserves, a program for 10 to 18-year-olds.
And they had programs of etiquette. We learned where the napkins belonged, what side the silverware was on, how to be graceful and courteous and become ladies. We wanted to be ladies.
Phyllis Wheatley members were also quick to respond in bad times. When racial hostilities against blacks in East St. Louis exploded in the 1917 race riot, the Y branch stepped up and offered aid to victims. During World War II, black soldiers from Jefferson Barracks and Fort Leonard Wood had access to only one of the 9 USO centers in St. Louis. It was operated by the Phyllis Wheatley Y. To the African American community in St. Louis, this YWCA branch has been many things to many people. But perhaps its single most significant role has been that of meeting place.
Phyllis Wheatley at one time was a social center of black organizations. The Book Lovers Club, they would have book reviews there. The Principals Organization had their meetings there. The Panhellenic, the Greek organizations had their meetings there. The social clubs, the bridge clubs had their meetings there. It was a center of activity, and it has been a vital part of St. Louis.
In 1946, long before the enactment of civil rights laws, the National YWCA adopted an interracial charter condemning racial bias. Here in St. Louis, the Ys were reorganized and underwent a gradual process of integration. And there were changes here at Phyllis Wheatley. The Heritage Center was created from the branch's former gymnasium. And continuing its tradition of providing safe, affordable housing, there are the Phyllis Wheatley apartments next door. But it was a desire to honor the past and to share the story of the rich history here with people everywhere that led to this permanent installation.
The YWCA's vision for these buildings and for this history wall is that the persistence of spirit that was modeled by generations of extraordinary St. Louis women through the Phyllis Wheatley branch will continue now to inspire each of us and generations to come to work more diligently to ensure that we build the kind of inclusive and equitable community that we want for our children and our grandchildren.